In our Border Watch, we are breaking down that new bipartisan border deal in the Senate. Those of you just watching World News Tonight heard former President Trump has already come out against the deal. And there are those on all sides of the political spectrum weighing in tonight.
Rachel Louise Just with our ABC 15 political team is teaming up with our data analyst Garrett Archer tonight to break down the key components of what this bill would do.
As the border faces national scrutiny and record-high crossings, lawmakers are trying to find common ground. The latest plan negotiated in the Senate is perhaps best summed up by Oklahoma Senator James Lankford. The current system, catch and release. The new system, detain and deport. A key proposal of the Border Emergency Authority. For a 3-year period, this would allow officials to shut down crossings at the border if a threshold is reached.
Instead of letting the system get backed up and just releasing people, we instead say, nope, we're closed. No one gets to even approach the border. And so we close down the whole system until we clear our backlog.
More on that later. Also, migrants seeking asylum will have a higher barrier to entry. They'd now have to prove, quote, reasonable possibility of persecution in their home country. And border officials would be able to consider if that migrant could have found safety in another part of their country rather than the U.S. But the asylum processing timeline would be shortened. Also proposed a major influx of cash for new border enforcement and staff, including 1,500 CBP employees, 4,300 asylum officers, 1,200 ICE personnel, and 100 immigration judge teams. It also puts limitations on the number of people and the types of people that can come through the border. For that, ABC 15 data analyst Garrett Archer breaks down the numbers.
I want to take you through the potential impacts of this border bill. One major proposal is work permits would not be issued immediately to migrants. If you look back between 2021 and now, 7.2 million total encounters, but existing law turned away half. And based on the number of single adults encountered, this provision alone would have brought encounters down about 50% more, about 3.9 million to 1.9 million. So under this bill, if daily migrant encounters, with the exception of some protected groups, rise above 5,000 on a weekly average, a border emergency authorization, or BEA, would trigger. It could last up to 270 days for the first year and can only be deactivated when the weekly average encounters drop 75%. When triggered, no asylum claims can be made between the ports of entry. Migrants in the country less than 14 days may be removed, and anyone who attempts re-entry a second time during a BEA would have a 1-year ban placed on them. And with some exceptions, the removals are not brought before a judge. Senator Lankford from Oklahoma, a Maine Republican negotiator here, claims that a BEA in October would have dropped asylum claims from 800,000 to 200,000. And in the past few years, there were plenty of times a BEA would have triggered. There are only 4 months since January of 2021 with daily average encounters under 5,000. A final provision of this border bill would be to shorten the length of immigration court processes from several years to a few months. According to Syracuse University research, there is an immigration court backlog of over 3.3 million cases. A third of these are pending asylum cases in which the average court date doesn't occur for at least 5 years. Rachel?
And Garrett, despite what the data may show, less than 24 hours after the bill was released, the writing may be on the wall for its failure. Republican Speaker Mike Johnson calling the bill a waste of time and dead on arrival. It has its supporters, yes, but the bill is unlikely to see the light of day. For ABC 15's political team, I'm Rachel Louise Just.